Well, good evening again. I'm not in my dark room. I still don't have power outside, so I'm having to do some of our lessons here in front of the camera inside my home. I was reading the story about the man named Bartimaeus, how that he was sitting by the roadside begging, and he heard that Jesus was going to walk by. We find this in Mark chapter 10, around verse 47, 48, 49. We see where he had cried out and he had called out, and I think some maybe was trying to sort of make him not speak up as much, but I think it says, I've got my Bible open here. It says in verse 50, and he, casting away his garment, rose and came to Jesus. And Jesus answered and said unto him, now listen to what he said here. What wilt thou that I should do unto thee? Now you think Jesus knew the condition of the man's ability to see? He did. Jesus knew. But that man was still willing to come. And Jesus was asking a question here. What wilt thou that I should do unto thee? I think if Jesus was to come back today and ask that question to a lot of people would say, I want more money. I need a better job. I need a better home. I need a better environment. No, what that man there needed was he needed his sight. He wanted to be able to see. And the answer the blind man gave, he said unto him, Lord. See, right there, he called him Lord. Go thy way, where he says here, the blind man said unto him, Lord, that I might receive my sight. He wanted to see. And Jesus said unto him, now listen at this answer now. I'm sure this is an answer we've all heard. Jesus tells him here, go thy way. Go thy way, thy faith hath made thee whole. Did Jesus have something to do with the miracle of his eyes opening? Jesus told him what the answer was in this verse. Thy faith hath made thee whole. Thy faith, meaning the blind man's faith. If we go back up there and read back where I was in 46 and 47, you'll see all the stuff that went on with this story right here. It even says in verse 49, and Jesus stood still and commanded him to be called. And they called the blind man, saying unto him, be of good comfort, rise, he calleth thee. Making sure that, did you hear what the Lord had said? And he, casting away his garment, rose and came to Jesus. He casted away his garment. Maybe that was his covering. Maybe his covering was a little bit dirty. Maybe his covering was a little bit nasty. But he casted that away, and Jesus answered and said unto him, What wilt thou that I should do unto thee? Do you think Jesus was surprised of the answer that this man was going to give Jesus? Do you think it caught Jesus off guard? Or do you think that Jesus knew the whole time that he was going to ask for his ability to see? The blind man said unto him, Lord, that I might receive my sight. I think there's a lot of people today that are walking around blind. They're walking around without salvation. They're walking around without the Spirit of God. They're walking around doing their job, and they're not doing it in the ability of peace and joy and love. They're just surviving just to survive. They're making it one day to the next just by, like this man here was, making it one day to the next. This man here was a beggar, because it says, and they came to Jericho, and as he went out of Jericho with his disciples and a great number of people, blind Bartimaeus, and it gives his son, the son of who his father was, he sat by the highway side begging. That's all he could do. He couldn't see. And when he heard that Jesus was of Nazareth, when he heard that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to cry aloud and say, Jesus, thou son of David, have mercy on me. Now, it wouldn't have been right for Jesus to have walked on and pretended that he didn't hear what Jesus was saying. And if you look at the next verse, and many charged him that he should hold his peace, but he cried the more. A great deal he cried the more. Thou son of David, have mercy on me. That's twice that he said, have mercy on me. You know, we want to wait until we get in our desperation time, and we want to do like this man here. He cried 2 times to the Lord. The Lord could have healed him and kept right on going and kept right on walking, and Jesus stood still and commanded him to be called. And they called the blind man, saying unto him, Be of good comfort. Rise, he calleth thee. And he, casting away his garment, rose and came to Jesus. And that's where we pick up the story. And then when he got his sight, Jesus said unto him, Go thy way, thy faith hath made thee whole. What would have happened had he would have not hollered out the first time? If he would have known that Jesus was coming by, what would he have done, God, if he had just sat there and not hollered out for Jesus' name? Do you think he would have received a sight? Do you think the Lord wanted to give that man sight? He gave him sight to the point that he was able to see physically, but I want to think that he was also able to see spiritually. Because if you notice in the last part of that verse, and immediately he received his sight and followed Jesus in the way. Meaning that he followed him after he received his sight. Now, how many people are following the Lord? If the Lord don't give them what they're asking for, they quit following. A lot of people do. The truth of the matter is, thy faith hath made thee whole. You know, the Lord knows our faith. He knows your faith. He knows the faith that it takes to open up the Bible and simply read a story. Most people would see this as just another tale, just another Bible story. Well, if you put yourself in that man's shoes that could not see, let me tell you something. Me and my mom went to the eye doctor, I think it was Wednesday, and I had an injection in my eye. And it was approaching some darkness. Far as the time that we had it done, we got done probably near 5 o'clock, I guess it was. It had started getting dark. The sun was out in force for a little while. The sun was laying to the west, and we was heading right into the direction of the sun. And the more I drove, because of the doctor dilating my eyes, every vehicle I passed, they only had 2 headlights. But I was seeing about 5 or 6 lights on one side of the vehicle and 5 and 6 lights on the other side of the vehicle. When that sun was allowed to peek through with no obstruction, I was in a pickle. I mean, I could not see. I pulled to the side of the road, and I even had, I think, maybe 2 people that walked along the side of the road and wanted to know if I was okay. And I shook my head, yes, I was okay. I was waiting to get my eyes to where I could see no traffic behind me and to rest my eyes just for 5 minutes so that I could proceed on. And I did. But it was touch and go there to get home. The closer I got home, the darker that it got. And we got home right at the edge of dark. And we was able to make it back in a safe, without any damage. See, them dilations of the eyes affected my ability to be able to see to get home. And to be honest with you, I was a little bit concerned because I had never saw them kind of lights before, not like Wednesday. Imagine what that man, that blind man in the Bible must have seen when he was able to see the sunshine. And he was able to see the Lord, not just hear the Lord. He was able to see the Lord, to the point that he was willing to call him Lord, and he was even willing to follow the Lord. There's not many people today that follow. Oh yeah, they'll follow far as if it don't take nothing from them. If it don't make me do anything hard or bad, then I'll jump in and I'll follow. But I want to tell you something, that dilation had me on the side of the road because it was so bright, and yet it was getting dark, and I knew that I had to go on. Even in a dangerous position, I had to go on because I didn't want to be left out there in the dark having to struggle. I had to wait for the sun to get behind the trees enough for me to have even a chance of me being able to drive safely. See, the Lord is saying here, thy faith hath made thee whole. His believing had something to do with his miracle that he received. And you know what? The Lord's willing to give salvation, but it's really all about our faith. For by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves, it is a gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast. So see, faith is important. And exercising faith to pull off long enough for my eyes to rest proved that I was able to set up more upright and allow the sun to be blocked enough for me to be able to make it home. Do you have faith that you're going to make it home when the Lord does call you, when he does call your name? You know, we all have a destination time to die. People don't want to hear that, but we have been appointed a time of death. And we're all going to keep that appointment no matter what age we are or how old we are or how healthy we are. We've been given an appointment time. And this man's appointment was for him to receive his sight. Because this man here was going to follow the Lord even a little bit further. And you know, we might even get to see this man in the place called heaven. You know, just a simple miracle in the Bible that the Lord was able to do the healing because of the man's faith. What was the man's faith? He even said here, he was begging. He sat by the highway side begging, and he heard that it was Jesus of Nazareth. He must have heard something about Jesus. Maybe, you know, a little bit of something about Jesus. And he even cried the more because he cried in verse 49, him still wanting Jesus' help to heal his eyes. You know, Jesus is in the healing business today, but he's in the business of healing the soul. That's what he wants to heal, the soul. I hope you got something from this. elderlyministry.com is the website. There's a tab at the top of the page you can pull down, and you can access that phone number there. There's a cell number there that you can call. I ask you to leave a message when you call, and I will return your call. Maybe we can help each other. Thank you for listening.